Okay, let's get cracking. I got a new camera. Well, not a new camera, it's not new, but I've started using a different camera instead of just my computer camera, so hopefully it's better. Um, okay, we're going to start with Vedanch. Okay. Okay, subject line. She moved on. He didn't. I think that's okay. We'll see what the rest of it's about. Hey, name. Last night, need to sort out this spacing as well. Hey, name. Last night, one of our members shared something in the group that stopped everyone cold. He wrote, "My ex-girlfriend has a new boyfriend. They'd been together for 3 years." We'll have that like that. They'd been together for 3 years, but over time he let himself go, slowly, then all at once. The gym sessions turned into late nights drinking, the discipline faded, the weight crept up, and with it his confidence disappeared. He stopped looking at himself in the mirror, avoided photos, became quieter, eventually she left. A few weeks later, he saw a photo with her with someone new, fit, confident, put together. That's when it hit him. It wasn't really about her, it was about the man he'd stopped being. So he joined XXX Fitness. 8 weeks later, 8 kilograms down, dropped 2 shirt sizes, energy back, walks taller. Today he's dating again, but more importantly, he respects himself again. Maybe you felt it too. That quiet insecurity when your shirt fits tighter than it used to. When you avoid the mirror. When you tell yourself, I'll start next Monday again. You don't need more motivation. You need a system that works. I'm opening 3 spots this week for my 8-week transformation program built specifically for men who are done making excuses. What you get: personalized training plan or in person, nutrition coaching that actually fits your life, weekly check-ins with me directly, private accountability group. Investment: 33 rupees a day, less than a Vada Pav. What is that? Oh, looks nice. Deep fried potato dumpling, sandwich between a soft bread roll called a pav. I need one of those. But the return, confidence, energy, respect. If you're ready to stop waiting and start becoming the man you know you should be, click below. Book your spot now. Spots will fast. Don't be the guy who waits another 6 months. Coach XXX. Okay, nice. Yo, it's Indian burger type. Yeah, I've never had one. There's a lot of Indian food in London, but I've never seen that. They need to open that up because I reckon people would love that. All right. Okay. We are going to change the subject line to "My ex-girlfriend has a new boyfriend," and that we can have this actually as the pre-header, which you always need because you can leave it blank, I think, but you might as well just have it. It's so "My ex-girlfriend has a new boyfriend." That's really good. I like that as a subject line. It's very I don't know, like to the point. It's exciting to read. Hey, name. Last night one of our members shared something in the group. I would say take this out. The emphasis can speak for itself. One of our members shared something in the group. He wrote, "My ex-girlfriend." I could even just say that. Last night, one of our members shared something in the group. "My ex-girlfriend has a new boyfriend. They'd been together for 3 years." So a good like formatting rule is to, I generally like to write all numbers lower than 10 as written out, and then all double digits as then the numbers. You don't have to do it that way, but I personally like doing it like that. I think it looks nicer, but it's up to you. Sometimes I've had conversations with like marketing people that have said, oh, it's better to have the number in the subject line. People read numbers more than they do words. I don't know. I'd have to see the data on that, but okay. They'd been together for 3 years, but over time he let himself go, slowly then all at once. I don't like that bit, slowly then all at once. Because I don't think it means anything, and I think it's a bit of a cliche. Because I don't know if you can. Yeah, I just think we could take that out. The gym sessions turn into late. I would say the gym sessions turn into late night drinking sessions. I would say like try and have it the same length. So I'd say maybe like the motivated gym sessions turned into late night motivated gym workouts. The motivated gym workouts turned into late night drinking sessions. The discipline faded. The weight crept up. Nice. And with it, his confidence disappeared. Nice. He stopped looking at himself in the mirror. Avoided photos, became quieter. Eventually, she left. A few weeks later, I don't know about that. I would say a few months. Because a few weeks, I'm thinking, that's her fault. Like, well, they were together for 3 years. And then in a few weeks, it was a photo of something new. So I would just say like a few months. Maybe like 6 months later. You know, that's enough time that no one would gossip and say, wow, she moved on quick. Fit, confident, put it together. You would say put together. But is that you talking about the new guy? Or her? I would say the guy. I would say then a man who was fit, confident, and put together. That's when it hit him. It wasn't really about her, it was about the man he'd stopped being. So he joined XXX Fitness 8 weeks later. 8 kilograms down. I'd say have a bullet points here just to break up the text a bit. Energy about walks taller. Today he's dating again. I would say maybe. I mean, I presume this is a made up story. I would say he's got a new girlfriend. Today he's got someone new. Maybe like, I don't know. Like, today he's got someone new that he likes more, is what I'm trying to say. Like, better. But trying not to be savage. I think that's okay. Today he's got someone new. But more importantly, he respects himself again. Although actually this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense because if you're saying, okay, last night one of our members shared something in the group. My ex-girlfriend has a new boyfriend. They've been together for 3 years. This was last night. So you're saying, oh, he joined XXX Fitness 8 weeks later. Doesn't make sense. The timings aren't right. So maybe what I would do is I would just change last night. So I would say earlier this year, one of our members shared something in the group. My ex-girlfriend has a new boyfriend. They've been together for 3 years. Every time we let himself go, 6 months later, he saw a photo. So the 3 years, then the 6 month later, he saw a photo of someone new. And then 8 weeks later, he's now like 8 kilos down, dropped to, 8 kilos in 2 weeks. Yeah, sorry, 8 weeks, you could do that. Today, he's got someone new. But more importantly, he respects himself again. Maybe you felt it too. That quiet insecurity when your shirt fits tighter than it used to. I would say that confused me when I first read it, because I feel like a tight shirt means you're ripped, but obviously you're trying to say that they're fat. So that quiet insecurity when your shirt doesn't fit like it used to. When you avoid the mirror, when you tell yourself, I'll start next Monday again. So maybe like start next Monday for maybe like when you say yourself I'll start next Monday, but you know you really won't, or like you never will. You don't need more motivation, you need a system that works. I'm opening 3 spots from my 8-week transformation program. Yeah, see here, like it actually looks better in a way to have the numbers on email, especially if people scroll. So I might actually go back on what I said and actually put in the numbers, because I always go back and forth on this, because I used to be a sub editor, so I used to have someone tell me, oh, you need to have the you need to have them spelled out in that way. Where's that 3 gone? 3 years. Oops. Having 3 specific 8-week program, but built specifically, I would get rid of the M dashes. I'm opening 3 spots this week for my 8-week transformation program built specifically for men who are done making excuses. What you get: personalized training plan. I would say here inside our training plan, you will get personalized. What's it called? Transformation program. You will get a personalized training plan online in person, nutrition coaching that actually fits your life, weekly check-ins with me directly, a private accountability group. It will cost you just 33 rupees per day. Less than a vada pav. I would have that in brackets like that. Maybe a little exclamation mark like that. But the return: confidence, energy, self-respect. I would say you've already done the kind of rhetorical question here. They say never use a technique more than once in the same piece. So I would say it will cost you just 33 rupees a day, less than a vada pav. But the return is priceless. Confidence, energy, and self-respect. If you're ready to stop waiting and start becoming the man you know you should be, that's fire. I like that. Click below. Book your spot now. Spots fill fast. Don't be the guy who waits another 6 months, coach. P.S. That member I mentioned, he told me yesterday I should have done this a year ago. Don't let that be you. I don't like that. It should be something else, like, because it's meant to be a good story. Like, in a way, he had a transformation, but now he's got a bettered girl and he's doing better in life. Yeah, he did have someone leave him, and it was sad. But now I'm thinking, oh, he's not over it. So it kind of dampens the result a little bit. So I would say, P.S. That member I mentioned, he told me yesterday. I would leave it. I would honestly leave that. I would just not have anything. It Don't be the guy who waits another 6 months, coach. I think that's good. So overall, that was great. I think it just needed a bit of tweaking. And remember, like, if you're telling a story, it has to make sense. If you have like chronological errors, it starts to smell like bullshit. You need to be fairly believable. So, and the way that stories are believable is that the timings match up. If they don't match up, then it's jarring. That's why it doesn't quite make sense. Because it was last night, then it was like 3 weeks later, she got a new boyfriend after 3 years together, which is insane. And then 8 weeks later, somehow, even though he only said it last night, he was then 8 kilograms down. So now I just changed it to, okay, earlier this year, so unspecified. They were together for 3 years. He became a boozer. She left him. 6 months later, he saw a photo of her with someone new who was like fit. Then he realized, oh shit, I need to get in shape and sort my life out. 8 weeks later, he got his life together. And today, which is again unspecified because it's earlier this year, he's got someone new. So it kind of all fits and makes sense. Okay. And also, yeah, we're going to call it My Ex-Girlfriend Has a New Boyfriend. Okay, thank you for that. That was a good one. That was a good one. I liked it. Okie dokie. Adil is next. Okay. Let's have a look at this. Alright. Yo, what you doing? This is a copy review. So, in my school community, people put in their copy into this, and then I review it live on the stream. Because I used to do this individually. So what I used to do is say, oh, just send me your copy and I will send you a Loom video and review it. And then people would be asking me like, oh, have you got any copy reviews? And I just thought, why don't I just do it live? Because then everyone can see it, everyone can join. And also I think to have your copy reviewed publicly, I don't know, it makes you pay attention. It makes you kind of see someone live reading it and actually reacting to it is so important. How do you monetize your school community? Well, if you go into my school community, you'll see there are a few paid courses in there, there's one of them which is a writing course, so it helps people become a better writer. And then I also have one which helps you get your first client. So all the client acquisition methods I have, all the emails that I've used, and all the systems I have, I sell that as a little module. And that's for people that are already good at writing, but they struggle a bit with the client acquisition. They can't really find a way to get their first client. So that's for them. Okay. Real estate crashes trigger mass selling. A commonly held belief is buy cheap, hold on, sell when the market rebounds. A crucial detail that often gets overlooked is the entry point. The Phoenix real estate crash in 2006 is a case study on the dangers of reckless entry points in a real estate bear market and how to negate them. What happened was the Phoenix housing market peaked at $262,000 in June 2026 and then declined for 63 months, 5.25 years, ultimately bottoming at $113,000 in September 2011, a total drop of 56 0.9% from its 2006 peak. What is this? Yeah, I don't know what this is. I'm quite confused. Um, uh, I think that if you create 2 to 3 vids per week on YouTube, you could get to 10 to 20K a month just through school. Probably. Um, but then I do this as a side thing. I don't want to get I don't want to start being a course seller. Like I already have an agency, and I've made 10K a month with that. So I'd rather keep doing that. That's what I want to do, and that's what I like doing, and I think it's easier as well. I actually think course selling or selling digital products is not as easy as people say. I think agency is much easier because you charge businesses that are already rolling in cash, and to them, a few $1,000s is not really anything. Um, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is a side thing. I like doing this. We'll see where it goes. I like doing it. I enjoy it, and I would probably do it anyway. So the fact I now have a school community and it's going well, that for me is enough. I think I've tried. I mean, for anyone that's been around for a while, I've tried many things. And I had 2 communities for before. I had one called the New Writer. I had a premium one. I had a free one. Now I've just gone freemium. So I just yeah. So I don't have to do much. I don't want it to be a job. Like I don't want to have to like maintain it. I just want to do these reviews, like give everything people need to find their first client, and that's it. That's all they need. Um, do you post short form content? I have done. There's a few shorts on my channel, but they're just cuts of my videos, my longer ones. I had Instagram for a while, and I posted some of them on there. I really don't. I really should start posting more like uh, sort of clips of me on my phone, like, hey, this is how you get this and that. Like I like Callum Carver. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. I think he makes good stuff, and I think I would probably imitate what he's doing, because I think he does it very, very well. Uh, and we're quite similar. We sound quite similar, and I think we have a similar journey. But he's gone way, 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 way ahead on the digital products, and he's doing very well. So yeah, honestly, like it's like what I said earlier. Like I'm not really interested in it like I am my own agency. Like my agency is the one that I want to scale to the moon, but uh, I don't think school I'm like that interested in. I'd rather make it good than just like make loads of money. Even clips of these live streams could work, of course, as an educational creator. Your goal would not to be make millions of views. Yeah, exactly. And you know what I've realized in my time in business, which isn't that long. It's only about 2 years, but like quality is better than quantity. Like I could make clips that would go viral, but what would be the point? Like I like the fact that everyone who subscribes and follows me and is on my school community are people who are interested in copywriting specifically. That's why my uptake is really good on school. That's why like my responses are good. That's why like people are interested in what I do, because I just fit that niche very, very well. So I would rather have 10,000 subscribers of people that are really, really engaged than necessarily have all these clip farms that make me go viral. Uh, yeah. Okay, let's read this thing. I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't know what the hell this is. It's really dense. Like, I'm almost just bored looking at it. So if I'm bored, your readers are going to be bored. And I really just have no clue what it's for. But I'll try and go through it as is. Um, I get the idea that you're trying to um, like talk about property, like uh, Ken McElroy, Rich Dad Advisor. Is this a real guy? Ken McElroy. Whoa, this is a murderer. Let's try real estate. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So I presume you're. Okay, so I presume you're trying to sell this guy's strategy of in favor of the strategically astute. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. I don't know what to do with this, to be honest. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I kind of want to give up on it. Like, it's very, very well written, but I don't understand what I'm doing it for. Like, is this an email? No, you know what? I'll read through it. Okay, right. Real estate crushes trigger bestseller. Commonly held belief is to buy cheap, hold on, sell when the market rebounds. I look okay. If I'm going to assume this is trying to sell something of Ken's, and it's going to be selling his strategy, or at least him. So I would start with him. Um, so I would start with this, right? So I would take this up here. So we're actually gonna redo this. Okay. Okay, and then we need a subject line. Okay, subject line, and then pre-header. Okay, timing is impossible to get correct. Better stage your entry with capital reserves. Okay. It's almost like I feel like it's halfway through something, you know? It's not actually um yeah. Okay, okay. Uh okay, okay. Let's just try and let's try and okay, we'll go back. Okay, okay, okay. Right, real estate crashes trigger mass selling. You know what it is? It needs context. It needs context. Okay, so it needs some kind of like, uh, I don't know, like, can mention of Ken McElroy. The game, I like the idea of the game being rigged. Okay, so I might have that as a subject line. So subject line, the game, or a title. Like, I don't know if this is an email, but I'm assuming it is. The game is rigged. The strategy, Ken McElroy. Okay. Okay. It is a commonly held belief that when the real estate market crashes, the best strategy is to buy cheap, hold, and sell when the market rebounds. However, what new investors often overlook. The big idea of this email is to take calculated positions at presumed bottom, and if it falls further, averaging comes to your aid. Isn't the email laden with too many numbers? Having some visuals would help. Yeah, I was saying earlier I haven't got a clue what it's really about. I don't know the context of it. But there's a lot of info in it. So it might be more like a newsletter, more like a internal piece that people get. But I'm assuming it's some kind of explanation of exactly what you said. But like I started reading this and I was just genuinely so unbelievably lost. However, what new investors often overlook is the entry point. And then maybe why, like maybe like, okay, these new investors don't understand that the first dip rarely equals the bottom in major corrections. Something like that. It's like you need a Times New Roman. I haven't. So basically, we're just trying to keep it simple at the start, trying to say real estate market crashes. The idea is to buy cheap, hold, and sell when it rebounds. However, what new investors overlook is the entry point. These new investors don't understand that the first dip rarely equals the bottom in major correction. So basically, we're just establishing what's going on. So we are saying there's a belief out there, but new investors are under a grave misapprehension. They don't understand. And this you need to keep reading because the game is rigged. You need to know what's going on. Okay. Then I would have here something like a short line to say, like, here is an example. The Phoenix real estate crash of 2006. Let's have a little look at that. The first line could be shortened to something the market knows. First name: buy low, sell cheap is the most infamous strategy because when the index is 1,000 points down, strategy gets thrown out the window. Even the best strategy gets thrown out the window. Yeah, no, but I think buy what does it say? Buy low, sell cheap. Um, I don't know. I think they get said a lot. But yeah, I like the idea. I mean, I think you know what it is. I don't think it's badly written. I think it's just it needs like a bit of clarity. Like people need to, they just need to understand what the hell they're reading. With any of these emails, it's like they need to know what they're reading, why they should read it, why they should care. Because immediately I was just like reading all these real estate stats, and I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. What's going on here? Sell high. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Buy low, sell high. The Phoenix real estate crash in 2006. I don't know. Is this a thing? Like, because I've just Googled it and I don't really know. Because I think it started in a few places. I don't know if it's enough of a thing. So I would say the 2008 crash, or say housing market crash, which started in Phoenix, or which first showed signs in Phoenix, is a case study on the dangers of reckless entry points in real estate bear markets and how to negate them. So you just take that out. What happened was the Phoenix housing market peaked at $262,000. What does this mean? Yeah, okay, so these stats kind of make no sense. Like, as in, is that average house price? Okay, let me Google it. Yeah, so I'm medium home prices. I'm thinking the figure of two mentioned in real housing for the home markets. Oh no, okay, so AI is not really sure about this. Yeah, so you need to be super clear on any stats you have, any data. Maybe too many side details that don't move the sales argument forward. I completely agree, yeah. Every investor knows the '08 crash. I don't think the Phoenix thing is needed until the CTA is for real estate in Phoenix. Yes, good point. I don't know how relevant Phoenix is going to be, so we'll leave it. But what happened was, okay, I'm going to take Gramley's advice there. The Phoenix housing market peaked at a median. I'm just going to assume that is what it is. At a median house price of $262,000 in June 2006, and then started a rapid decline for 63 months. Again, it's kind of a pointless stat. I would just say for over 5 years, ultimately bottoming at $113,000 at a median house price of $113,000 in September 2011. then I would say this was a total drop. I like to add emphasis as a new line because you're trying to say, holy shit, that is quite a drop. This was a total drop of 56. You don't see minus. I would say this was a total drop. This was a 56.9% decline from its 2006 peak. Okay. Investors entered during the first dip in 2007, saw the 20% decline, and bought at $210,000. I wouldn't change the format in which you've done it. And brought at $2,000. Must have felt like a deal like a decade versus 262. However, the market fell another 46% after their purchase. All right, I get what you're trying to say here. Can't we just use a chart to show that it will replace all the need for those meandering details? One chart with some annotations if needed. Yes, however, sending images on email is usually a pain in the ass. Your deliverability will not be as good. It might not load. Generally, it's text based. Is how it's done. But yes, a graph here would be very useful. Especially if it's a newsletter as well. If you're sending it to a specific list, then a graph for sure. The Phoenix Asma Amino House price. Okay, this was a 56% decline from its 2006 peak. Investors entered during the first dip in 2007, based on a 20% decline. All right, yeah, you need to slow down a little. Okay. Investors entered during the dip in 2007. I would say investors are always doing it. So I would say just like a large proportion of investors. So like more than normal, because people are investing in everything all the time, up and down. So you want to make sure that you say, okay, there was a spike in investors doing this. One image is allowed if their domain reputation is good and they're already running promotions or spam already. Yes, exactly. A large proportion of investors entered during the first dip in 2007, which was based on seeing a 20% decline. In their analysis, buying at $210,000 must have felt like a deal of the decade versus $262,000. Must have felt like a deal of the decade if the median house price was previously at $262,000. However, the market fell yet another 46% after that purchase. 97k went down the drain. 41% foreclosed, couldn't hold psychologically or financially. I would take that out, that's confusing. Lesson: early entry point is risky. I don't know about that because it doesn't necessarily. That's not necessarily true. Yeah, okay, they fucked up, but at the same time, it could have worked out. So, by default, being an early entry point is not risky. You can't just say that. You can't just say yes, it is risky. In this instance, it didn't work out. An early entry point does not mean anything. Is what you're trying to say. Not that it is risky. It's just that. Don't assume that if you're early, it means anything. I'm seeing a pattern or story here. More investment lead to more loss. Every entry point was breaking down. Well, a bit of financial advice here for you. Like, if in a casino the house always wins, which is true, the same is true for investing. Now, what casinos do is they ensure that you gamble more and more and more, because the more time you spend gambling, the more you lose on average, which is why they remove all windows in casinos, why they give you free alcohol, why they encourage you to bet more, and why they they make you convert your money into fun chips, so you disassociate and you tend to bet more. Because the more you bet, the more you play, the more you stay, the more you lose. And most people end up losing their money. It's the same with betting it's the same with investing. Investing platforms will encourage you to invest more. They will encourage you to make more bets in more places. I work at a casino. Exactly. It's the same for like eToro, Trading 212. It's the same gamified system. They've just taken it into investing. So all the best investors are really boring. They literally just they just buy companies and hold them for years. Warren Buffett's strategy is like really dull. He's not like firing off bets here and there. He's just making assessments of companies and holding them for decades. And that's worked out. The best strategy is just to put all your money into the S&P 500 and just sit on it for a lifetime. So that's why I think, okay, say like early entry point is risky. I'm like, well, technically any investing like dynamically and like doing it yourself, any kind of retail investing is generally going to end with you losing money. Okay, on the other hand, those investors who waited months for the market to bottom out didn't fare that well either. They started buying in 2012 at 125k when prices were already rebounding. The problem was that they had missed the 113k bottom in September 2011. Their 125k entry was already 11% from the bottom. As a result, those investors missed 34 percentage points of return for the combination lesson. Waiting for certainty also cost returns. So I actually think I would fucking delete that, because now you're basically saying, oh, actually they should have bought at 113k. Yeah, but that's like saying I should have bought Bitcoin in 2008. Is this a newsletter or a sales email? I haven't got a clue. I honestly don't know. I think it's a newsletter, to be honest. A third scenario occurred when some investors in 2009 went all in at once. They deployed 100% capital in Q1 in 2009 at 140k property with no reserves averaging down. Yes, they suffered when the market dropped another 19% over the 2.5 years. 27k went down per property. They then couldn't average out as they had no capital left. Due to high stress, they had to make some forced sales. Lesson: timing is impossible to gauge correctly. Better to stage your entry with capital reserves. Yeah, I'm a bit confused, because the idea is to say, you've made a really good point of saying that don't think that you've hit the bottom, because there's always more to go. Like a good saying that someone told me that said, if a stock has dropped 99%, it can fall another 99%. Don't think, oh, it's only got 1% to go left. No, it can fall from any point where it's been. There is no limit to how much a stock can plummet. So don't think, oh, it's dropped 50%. Now I'll buy. Because tomorrow it could drop 80%. It could drop 200. It could just go bust. You don't. There's no predicting what's going to happen. So I think you've made a really great point here, because people, when you've established that the median house price was $262,000, and people thought, whoa, $210,000, and then they jumped on it because it was a 20% decline. They thought, we're going to make 20% returns. No. 46% they lost. But then you say, oh, actually, wait, the ones that waited, they didn't do well. They should have fucking done it sooner. Yeah, okay, they should have predicted the future, of course. Third scenario, when some investors went all in at once. Yeah, again, I would just delete that. Just delete all this. You're kind of ruining your own point. Lesson: timing is impossible to gauge correctly. Better to stage your entry with capital reserves. Nice. So then what to do? Okay, I'll just leave that. Enter Ken McElroy, who was a rich dad advisor, Robert Kiyosaki's team. You could have that. Guess that's okay. He manages, let's say, just to be sure, Ken manages over 1 billion in real estate assets and actively bought Phoenix and was actively involved in the Phoenix housing market from 2009 to 2011. Caleb, what's your main role as a copywriter, email marketer, meta ads? So I do SEO, so I do long form content and emails and like web pages. That's what my agency does. But to be honest, I kind of do everything. Like I do SEO, articles, emails, like LinkedIn posts, social media. I've never done meta ads myself, but I used to write ads for companies when I was there. But I've never actually sold ads myself. In an interview in 2009, this is what he said. So, by the way, I think this is great. I think this is really nice. It's tied back to say, okay, this guy was actually there. He was doing this. Like, while all these guys were flailing around, he was doing it. In an interview in 2009, this is what he said. Everyone's asking, is this the bottom? Wrong question. The question is, can you survive if it drops another 20%? If yes, start buying with 30% of your capital. If it drops more, you have 70% left to average down. Nice. I like that. And what he preached, he also practiced. What is going on with the formatting there? Okay, and then and Ken practiced what he preached. Ken started buying in March of 2009 when the market was 46% from peak. He also smartly allocated his capital. He bought in 3 tranches over 24 months. In March 2009, 30% of capital was deployed, 140k median price. In November 2009, alright, okay, you're adding in colons now. Okay, so I would actually just like get rid of that because it's confusing. They don't know what tranches are. In March 2009, 30% of capital was deployed. Alright, okay, and then I would have these as a nice little set of bullet points. Ken started buying in March of 2009 when the market was 46%, was down 46% from its peak. In March 2009, 30% of capital was deployed, 140k median price. In November 2009, 35% of capital was deployed, 125k median price. In August 2010, 35% of capital was deployed, 118k median price. By 2015, the average purchase price for the home came to around $127,000 per unit. He also purchased 347 single-family homes across the Phoenix metro. The result. Alright, it's coming together now. It's starting to form. Gotta go. It was nice being here. Thanks for joining. Alright. He saw his property appreciate by 71%. $91,000 gain per property. How though? Because if he bought at 140k, 125k, 118k, then it bottomed out. It came to around $127,000 per unit. But he's lost money on this one. and he's only gained on this one and maybe a little bit of this one. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't understand the numbers here. I'm just going to ignore the numbers and see how it reads for now. He saw his property appreciate by 71%. The total equity Ken created was 31.6 million, 347 properties times 91k. Don't change up how you do the formatting. It's very jarring. It seems like it's a different number. The cash flow accumulated over 6 years was $6.87 million. A total ROI of 80. Yeah, again, like these numbers are so confusing. Like a return on investment of 87. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like they're too like all over the place. You know, the property is appreciated by 71.7%, but then 87.4%. Like you need just one that's gonna demonstrate it. Ken's philosophy was never to deploy more than 50% of capital in the first year. That offset any risk of markets falling further, so he deployed only 30%. As a result, he was always in control of his liquidity. Ken made sure that every property of his generated cash flow from day one at current rent rates. He made sure that if appreciation never comes, he still wins. The average rent of his purchases was $1,150 a month, average mortgage plus. Expenses came to around $875 a month. Cash flow generated $275 a month positive. That's $3,300 a year per property. Ken also diversified his investments across the submarkets. He didn't buy 100 properties in one zip code. If there was going to be a fall in property prices in one market, he could cover it up from another upward trending market. And finally, the most important thing is that Ken planned to hold the properties for a maximum of 7 to 10 years. Okay. He understood that exit wasn't as critical as the entry point in the market. As you can see, the game is not rigged in favor of the rich. It's rigged in favor of the strategically astute. Okay. Wow. I am actually now going to change the subject line because this is not, like, there's nothing really about the game being rigged. The emphasis here is this point. Timing is impossible to gauge correctly. So I would say maybe like timing is impossible. Or maybe something like, is this the bottom? Yeah, I'd say maybe or. Is this the bottom? Actually, wait. Slash is this the bottom? Okay. I like the ending. I think the ending's good. But I genuinely just think I'm not going to sort it all out. But I think here, these numbers need to be simpler and better laid out. Otherwise, they are too confusing and also seem contradictory. Because I don't know, I can't even think, okay, his property's appreciated by 71.7%, but then his ROI was 87.4%. 8.4% over 6 years. So there's so much going on here because, okay, one, I'm thinking, okay, his property's appreciated by 70%, but then if his return on investment was 87.4%, does that mean he was using leveraged investments? And also, his property is appreciated by 71% in what time frame? Because you're saying an ROI of 87.4% over 6 years. Was this property appreciation in the same time frame? Or was that only by 2015 that had happened? Like, it's just stuff like that you need to kind of clarify. All right. Thank you, Adil. Okay. Alan. Angle. I completed acquisition. Most beginner. Fucking hell. What is this? Okay, I don't know what this is. This just seems like a kind of ramblings. Did I make the other one viewable? 1 second. I did not. There we go. Right. Value email. Okie dokie. I don't know what this is, so I'm going to just put that at the bottom. Okie dokie. Alright, email. Subject line 1. You're focused on the wrong thing. The beginner mindset is holding you back. How we were able to crush our competition. Most beginner business or agency owners suffer from what I like to call the delusional mindset. They think that if they build or create something like a service or product, like I said this, I remember saying this before, you can't have a new line after a comma. They think that if they build something, create something like a service or product, then they're going to have a crowd of people show up at their front door ready to hand them over money. The truth is that never actually happens. When I first started my agency, I never followed this mindset and put all my focus and attention into acquisition. My acquisition system started off with dedicating some of my revenue to ad spend every month. I would tell myself that this is going to be my budget for client acquisition, and I'm not going to care how much money I lose or burn. Because if I don't use this money, I'm guaranteed that I won't secure any clients. Now, there's always a chance that things can go wrong, but if you have to figure out how you're going to fix them and avoid taking your money back one of the biggest reasons why I was able to be competitive was because of my relentless focus on acquisition and never giving myself the option to back out no matter how hard it got. Most people get nervous when they put in money, don't see anything coming back. So they give themselves the excuse to stop spending, walk away, and call it being smart. I never even had that option in my mind. And and it was either spending it all until there was nothing left in the bank, or making it work one way or the other. There were highs and lows throughout the whole process, but I can say, that the pressure forced me to get better at marketing, spending, and being responsible with my money, and eventually leading to boosting my ROI and having the skills to scale my agency. If I had to start all over from zero, but still have the knowledge that I have now, I would put 100% of my focus and my time and attention to building and creating an acquisition system. Everything else is secondary. See you on the next one, Gil Valerio. All right. This makes more sense now. All right. Okay. Most beginner businesses or agency owners suffer from what I like to call the delusional mindset. Very nice. I would even have maybe an option for a subject line to be exactly this. Your delusional mindset. Or even you are delusional. Or maybe, are you delusional? They think that if they build or create something like a product, like a service or product, then they're going to have a crowd of people show up at the front door ready to hand them money. The truth is that it never actually happens. Is that this never actually happens. Well, it might happen. Okay, I would change this, okay. New business owners often think that if they build or create something, I don't think we need to specify. If they build or create something that, okay, I'm going to say once, as soon as they launch, they're going to have a crowd of people show up at their front door ready to hand them money. What is this? This is a copy review session. So if you join my school community, you can get your copy reviewed by me live, just like this. So I'm reviewing Alan's copy. Where was I? New business owners often think that as soon as they launch, they're going to have a crowd of people show up at their front door ready to hand them money. The truth is that this rarely actually happens. Oh, nice. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should have some more info. Like, maybe I should have like I've got this banner which just says school.com/copywriting. Maybe I should have like, get your copy reviewed here for free, arrow, or maybe something in the description. Because I'm a bit lazy with the description. I've just had just go here. Doesn't explain much. Okay. When I first started my agency, I never followed this mindset. And I put all my focus into acquisition. I don't know if it's a mindset. Maybe it's like a mistake. It's a mistake that people think this. So I would say, when I first started my agency, I understood this, that nobody would see my services unless when I first started my agency, I understood that nobody would see my services unless I put all my focus and attention into client acquisition. Good luck. Thank you. My acquisition system started off with dedicating some of my revenue to ad spend every month. Not sure about these two lines. I'm going to come back to them. I'm not going to care about how much money I lose or burn, because if I don't use this money, I'm guaranteeing that I won't secure any clients. One of the biggest reasons why I was able to be competitive was because of my relentless focus on acquisition and never giving myself the option to back out no matter how hard it got. Thing is, right, okay, I'm starting to, like, I personally run an agency. I personally do client acquisition. And I know for a fact that you can't just have this mentality, because you will just spend all your money. Like, no one's going to buy what you want if you just go, no, I'm just going to focus on acquiring clients. Nothing but that. Because what will happen is you will just spend all your money and then you'll get no clients. Or you'll get very low quality clients. You'll get clients that won't pay you very much and they'll churn, which won't be worth it. So it's like most beginner business owners, agency owners have the belief in their mind that they're magically going to build something, their product is going to be so special that people somehow are just going to show up at the door ready to give them money. Yes, but in a way that you should have that mentality of trying to build something so good that people want it, because the product market fit is more important than anything. You can't, you can compensate for a very average business with insane client acquisition for a while, but generally the ones that have good product market fit will survive. The ones that focus purely on the product, purely on the service, so that it is literally better than everything else. I don't think that focusing on client acquisition as a primary, as you say, a ruthless commitment to acquisition is actually a smart strategy. Like, I get it, you need to lock in and contact thousands of businesses, but you should focus on the product. You should focus on your service. Do businesses actually want it? Will they actually pay for it? Does it actually get results? Like, that's all that should matter, really. So I actually disagree with what you're saying. That's the problem. I don't think it's accurate. One of the biggest reasons why I was able to be competitive was because of my relentless focus on acquisition. Like, it is true, but I think all the best businesses I know are just ones that have got down a really, really good service. That's the product market fit is really good, and therefore the acquisition is then easy. You shouldn't rely on it in a way, because the end game for businesses is to have inbound where you don't have to do any outbound at all. Like, do you think the best agencies in the world are still kind of begging people for work? No, they get people coming to them. They have a reputation. They are known as the top agency, and people find them. That's how it works in reality. So I'm actually not too sure about this email because I just don't think it's necessarily true. Um, but it's written very well. I like how it's written. Um, Let me just. But I'm going to assume that you are selling some kind of client acquisition system, so I can give you the benefit of the doubt and say that's fair enough. When I first started my agency, I sent an over to human service and I put all my focus into client acquisition. My acquisition system started off with dedicating some of my revenue to ad spend every month. I would tell myself this is going to be my budget for client acquisition, and I'm not going to care how much money I lose or burn, because if I don't use this money, I'm guaranteeing that I won't secure any clients. Something wrong with that, because my acquisition system started off with dedicating some of my revenue to ad spend every month, which is a smart decision. My budget for client acquisition, and I'm not going to care how much money I lose or burn, because if I don't understand, because you're saying my client acquisition so it's going to be much, because you're budgeting very correctly and smartly, but now you're saying I'm not going to care how much money I lose or burn because I don't use this money. So like I don't know which one is it. Like are you spending responsibly and allocating a certain amount of capital for client acquisition, or are you just saying fuck it, I'm going to spend every penny I have on client acquisition? I don't know which one you're going for there. Maybe I would actually delete this part just about this. Like, one of the biggest reasons I was able to be competitive was my relentless focus on acquisition and never giving myself the option to back out no matter how hard it got. Again, like, I don't know if I agree. Like, I was saying this to some people yesterday. I went to a founders party and I was saying to them, I was like, I know people that are like, they've been like trying and like never give up, never give up, never give up for years. And it doesn't work out. Like it just doesn't like, I don't know. You think like, oh, if I just really, 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 really try, then it will work out. And I just think that's not how it works. Like if everyone really, really wanted it, then everyone would get it, but they don't. So I actually just don't think this is true. Um, yeah, also like it's I don't know, it's kind of reckless as well because you're basically encouraging your readers to say spend all your money on marketing and client acquisition systems, which is not necessarily good advice. Um, they give themselves an excuse to stop spending, walk away, and call it being smart. I think they are being smart though. Like if you have invested over a certain period of time and you're making a loss on client acquisition, like a significant loss, you need to consider like actually that is smart to walk away and it's brave to walk away. Most people won't walk away. They will say, um, actually, like they'll just say no, they'll just butt their head. They won't give up. They won't give up. They won't give up. I think it takes guts to give up. I think it takes guts to say, do you know what? It's not working out. I'm going to try a different angle. I'm going to try something new, because people spend thousands, tens of thousands on client acquisition and then get nowhere, and you haven't really learned anything. Um, I think it's smart to say, okay, my cost per acquisition is not measuring exactly um, is not matching up to my profits. Because ideally what you should have is you should calculate a specific lifetime value of a client to you, and then use that to inform what your cost per acquisition is. So for example, if you have a retainer of say £500 a month, and your average churn is say 3 months, you can say, well, one client to me on average is worth £1,500. Therefore, I could spend £1,500 to acquire one client. So then, okay, if your monthly ad budget is £1,500, and you're spending that per month, and you're not getting a client per month from that, that's a bad business. Like, you're going wrong, because you're now in the red, because you're spending more than you might necessarily see a return on. Because for example, if you then spent £3,000 on ads, you get a client, and then you'll think, oh wow, how amazing that I locked in. But no, you've spent £3,000 to acquire one client that has an LTV of half that. So it wasn't worth it. You lost money. Like, the only incentive for a business is to make money. So if you're not making money, like, what are you trying to prove? It doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I think this email actually needs some work. So I'm gonna add some comments. I'm actually just gonna say, like, maybe just rewrite it. Okay, I'm gonna say rewrite needed. Okay, so I'm gonna say include cost per acquisition, or cost, I think they call it CAC as well. CAC, customer acquisition cost, yeah. Yeah, let's say CAC versus your LTV, lifetime value, informing readers to spend without care, or to spend money regardless of anything is not good advice. Is not yeah, because you even had it here. You had some of the revenue I'd spend every month. You're kind of getting there. Relentless focus on acquisition and giving myself the option back about how it got. Most people get nervous when they put in money and they don't see anything coming back, so they give themselves an excuse to stop spending, walk away, and call it being smart. I never had option in my mind, and it was either spending it all until there was nothing left in the bank, or making it work one way or the other. I mean, I kind of like that attitude generally. I think money is essentially worthless, and all that matters is what you do with your life. But I just think, what's gonna, like, I see it so many times, like, people go, right, I need to get a client, I don't care what I'm gonna do. But it's a kind of reckless approach which doesn't ever work out. Like, you actually need to think about it, and think about who you're going to target, and do the boring things. There are highs and lows throughout the whole process, but I can say that the pressure forced me to get better at marketing, spending, and being responsible with my money. Okay, and eventually. Okay, hang on. Oh shit. There were highs and lows throughout the whole process, but I can say that the pressure forced me to get better at marketing, spending, and being responsible with my money, and eventually leading to a boost in my ROI and having the skills to scale my agency. If I had to start all over again from zero, but still have the knowledge that I have now, I would put 100% of my focus, time, and attention to building and creating an acquisition system. Everything else is secondary. See you on the next one. See you at the next one. I would say, yeah, that's fine. See you on the next one. I think, yeah, I think needs a bit of work. I think rewrite needed. Okay, overall well written. However, the message needs to change. I'd say the fundamental message needs to change. Inform. Okay. Yeah, because I have also heard people say, yeah, that client acquisition is more important than. Sorry, I've also heard that people say that client retention is more important than client acquisition. So I've heard conflicting advice as to what you've received. Okay, and then I'd say generally, customer retention, or I'd say, sorry, client is more important than client acquisition. Because you can't just add, you can just keep adding fuel to the fire, but eventually it's going to go out. You need to actually build something where people are going to stick around, they're going to stay, and they're going to they're going to help scale your business with you. Overall well written, however, the fundamental message change. Smart business will include cross-referencing customer acquisition cost versus lifetime value, not simply spending until there is nothing left. Generally, client retention is more important than client acquisition. To simply focus on client acquisition will not necessarily result in business success. That's just like personal advice. Man, I feel guilty leaving the live. You don't have to feel guilty. It's going to be recorded and it's going to be on my thing. Like I said, these used to be recordings that I would do anyway, but now I just do it live. I have nothing to do with copywriting. That's fine. I mean, you're just here to watch. It's all right. I mean, this is my last one. I'm done at 11, so this is it. The stream is now over. But yeah, this one was good. I just think the fundamental message was just not accurate, and I'd have to basically rewrite the whole thing. So yeah, if that one could be rewritten, I can actually do that one at the start of the next one. So I'm going to put that one in yellow. And then, yeah, maybe I'll do that one next time. But yeah, thanks for joining, everyone. And I'll see you next week. Usually I do it on Saturdays, but yesterday I had to go out. So yeah, thanks for joining.